Trainspotting Network, and we're interviewing Mike Gentry with the Courtroom in the lovely Gettys building in Rock Hill, South Carolina. You've been involved with the Courtroom for some time now. What does that entail, and what are you trying to progress it to?
Well, the Courtroom started off as just like a DIY project. I work for the Arts Council of York County, and they allow me to use this courtroom space, which is on the second floor of the Gettys building here. And they let me just like host bands, and they also let me apply for alcohol permits, and I can raise money for myself, because all the door money I make goes to bands. So I've been doing it for about a year, almost a year and a half now. I've done about over 30 shows, and I just try to promote like a local, edgier music scene and performance art scene in Old Town of Rock Hill, because there's not a lot of draw for people between the ages of 16 and 30 in this part of town. So my goal is to just cultivate an exciting, innovative music scene in our area here. Okay.
And as far as the bands go, how many shows would you say you've had? What kind of bands do you get? How do you go about booking them, especially the ones that come from out of town and farther parts of the country?
Well, first I started off regionally. I started off with my first show with Andy the Doorbum and the Lesser Pauls and my own band, Candy Jerk. And I just, immediately went out and just asked them, said, hey, I can get the space for an evening, and you want to do a show, we'll charge this much money, people come in, we'll just have a good time and have a show there. And that's how it started. When it comes to booking bands, a lot of times I just go out there and ask, and then after the first few months, I did a few house shows before, so my name was people already knew who I was, but then after a few months of that, people just started contacting me, and it's a little bit of both. You wait for people to come to you, you go out and you ask other people. I make it an effort when I set up a show, if I find a touring band, to find a local band that matches with that, and then a regional band that matches with that. So, or at least, fits well. And I try to shape it around that, so people aren't just getting local bands all the time. People aren't just getting bands around town that they can't relate to. And so there's like every geographical thing I can conquer, I guess. I started off running it as just me, running a bar and a door all at the same time. And since then, since the Courtroom's gotten larger, more people have come out to it. I've been able to sell more beer, make a little bit more profits, and actually hire 2 people per show. So I have a door guy, which is separate and outside of the room, and then I have a bar guy who's inside of it. They both get paid, and the money I make just comes from those beer profits from the evening, and then all the bands, all the money that gets made at the door goes straight to the bands. It gets broken up according to who lives closest, or how many people are in the band, or who's touring, or who the show's focused around. So that's kind of how it's been in the last year.
Do you have any bands that have come through and liked it so much they've come back around time and again?
Yeah, it's only been a year, so not too many bands have had a chance to tour back, but I have had Everymen from Florida. They love this place. They're, rockabilly, punk, crustabilly is what they like to call themselves. They've toured here twice, and they put on a great show. There are other regional bands like Camp Kids, Andy the Doorbum, the Lesser Pauls have played here a couple times. Those are regional bands. They love to come here and play. Alonzo's about to come play their second show. They're a local band. It's kind of a big deal around here. I secured the space for one evening and made it happen, and it worked. And now I've continued to just do it over and over again. Not every show is going to be great. I've had everything from 15 to 120 people in the Courtroom paying a cover. So, and I do do what I can to pay bands as fairly as I can. This isn't Charlotte, so people aren't there are not as many people that come out to shows because we have a small population. But I think we have a good scene who appreciates what gets put on. So. everything started for me with house shows. You know, I went to house shows, and then somebody's house went down and wasn't doing any more shows, and then they were like, "Oh, can you put on this show?" Because I give these people a show, and now they're coming through. And it was in my 1-bedroom apartment. It turned out to be a great show. I did like 2 more like that, and then it was great. And then I grabbed onto the Courtroom, and more or less, I run the Courtroom as a house show. It's just a little more official. You know, you have to pay a cover to get in because these bands need the money. And you know, I have beer sales because that's the only way like I can profit. The only way it can be like after you do like 10 shows, it's like, oh, that was great. But you know, staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning every night doing a show, you have to make something happen. I do this venue and I do this music stuff because it's a passion. I don't do it to make money off of it, but I don't do it to lose money on it either.
Okay, so you've mentioned, you know, some of your inspiration was because house shows are great, but they're not as stable as they should be. So did you take from that and try and get this, or how did this progress?
Yeah, the total like DIY spirit of house shows and like people coming together just to do music, whether they're making money for it or not, was what really inspired this. Like I started, you know, I visited house shows, you know, I met a friend who's in a band, went to a couple of their shows, venues, house shows. House shows were fun, and, you know, they weren't in it to make money. You know, everybody has that dream, we're going to record, we're going to put out this, we're going to do this, and then things fall apart. But, you know, those experiences and those times you spend in those bands is what I'm passionate to feel. Like, even though I'm putting on these shows, it's almost as much as a creative outlet as playing in a band. Like I'm just like totally submersed in it the whole time during the show. So that whole DIY spirit of like people just coming together, having a show, making it happen. It's not I didn't think about when I started this Courtroom that it's going to be a business, because it's not really a business. I just have to know if I'm making money or not. I'm not trying to, you know, double my profits or anything. I'm just trying to get more people out and have more people enjoy it. So it started off going to house shows, you know. In the scene in Rock Hill, we've had many great places have house shows, and I know they've been going on longer than I've even been going to them. So the times I noticed there were great. You know, it's a little wild, and there's a lot of like risk with house shows. You have to deal, you know, with the possibility of being too loud, of people getting too drunk, you know, recklessness, stuff getting broken, you know, a million things you have to worry about. And so I hosted a few house shows in my own 1-bedroom apartment that went really well, and that's somewhere where I started gaining contacts to start doing more shows and being able to, you know, book the Courtroom with touring bands, you know, who are prepared to tour. You know, if you're touring from New Jersey and you're going all the way down to South Carolina, you should probably be prepared in some way. You're not just, you know, just going to play a show. But you still have that same feel where you just want to, you know, you just wrote those songs and you can go out and play them. And so I started doing house shows, and then once I did the first Courtroom show, there was a few other house shows after that, and then I moved most of my focus to here at the Courtroom. But you know, now and again we still throw a few house shows. But when I feel like a band is going to be worth it, you know, that is going to try to draw, you know, 80 people out, or, you know, even 50 people out. That's where I try to book them, because, you know, though they may want to play at a house show because it's going to be tighter and sweatier and more fun and more drunk, they won't make as much money. But, you know, I still feel like, you know, this Courtroom venue, everything is like everybody's on the same level. There's no stage. You know, you just set up a PA and you play it. The room is very large, so people tend to spread out. But not every show's like that. You know, there's still those shows where people are crowded in together, and you know, people drink and have a good time.
Okay, and then as far as, say a band hears about this place or they know a band that has played here, how would they get in touch to play here? Like you've talked about getting in touch with them, how do they contact you?
Well, a lot of people I deal with through Facebook, network of friends. That's kind of, I think, the biggest thing that started the DIY, that's helped the DIY scene out in a long time, is just social networking. For bands to contact me, there's a Courtroom at Gettys Facebook. If they find that on Facebook, there's an email, they can email me. I don't usually just accept a band that just says, hey, I want to play here. I usually have to give a listen and know a little bit of where they're coming from, and what they sound like, and whether I have anything that will even remotely work with them. In this venue, I tend to stray away from mainstream sounds. I have a lot of hardcore, I have performance art, I have indie stuff. There's an email, courtroom@gettys@gmail.com is my email address that I talk to bands with. If they want to share their music with me, they should share music with me before I book them. I'm not going to just randomly book a band that I know the name and I know their genre, because in every genre there's something that doesn't work, I think. Mm-hmm. But the best way, I think, for bands right now to share music is Bandcamp, because you can upload all those songs and people can listen to them for free and get a whole feel for a whole album, or at least a whole recording. And I understand bands who only want to release 2 tracks and then hold back. 2 tracks is usually enough to be able to tell how a band is going to behave and sound.
I've been Anna Wright with the Gig Spotting Network. Thank you again to Mike Gentry and the Courtroom for talking with us today and letting us get to know a little bit about it. If you want to check it out, it is facebook.com/courtroom@Gettys.
Just can't win. What's a loser to do? We've got the rags to rags and there's no turning back. We've been told you're no good, too bad, and that's that. We've got the rags to rags and there's no turning back. Hit the ground running.